Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to discuss a new topic that is used in the current season in IELTS speaking. This is speaking part 1 and the topic is insects. All right, so I would like to start by looking at some lexical items. Firstly, collocations with the word insect. So this can be a flying insect, a crawling insect, then winged insect, the one with wings, an aquatic insect, beneficial insects, meaning they are good for people, then harmful insects, poisonous or venomous insect. When there is a group of insects, you call them a swarm of insects, for instance, a swarm of locusts. Right? Verbs, something that insects do, that's to crawl, to fly, to swarm, to feed on something, to bite, or to sting. So some of these verbs might be useful in your answers. Some other useful phrases would be to deter insects. Some place can be infested with insects or with anything else. Then insect repellent or insect spray. Here's a spoken word, a creepy crawly. So you can use it to talk about an insect, for instance, something that creeps and crawls. This adjective can also mean something disgusting, something unpleasant as well. Okay, then also there are words larva or maggot and pupa or chrysalis. These are stages in the life cycle of an insect. You can use it for IELTS for academic writing task 1 if you're lucky enough to receive such a topic like this. So how many kinds of insects can you name? When we talk about insects, we need uncommon lexical items, right? So probably butterfly and even spider, that wouldn't be a really uncommon lexical item, but for instance, something like ladybug or ladybird, or let's say caterpillar or scarab, right? Then centipede, that would be something uncommon, right? So ideally you need to use less common and uncommon lexical items. So possible types, of course, you cannot enumerate all the insects, and you don't have to. Just choose 3, 4, or 5 insects that are uncommon and try to use them in your IELTS speaking if you come across this topic. So that's spider, butterfly, ladybug, worm, ant, bee, caterpillar. I think that's quite good. Grasshopper, it's also nice. Scorpion, dragonfly. Louse, the plural of louse is lice, like mouse, mice, louse, lice. Lousy means bad. Snail, mosquito, wasp, scarab, moth. Moth is also quite uncommon. Beetle, earwig, earthworm, cockroach. Mantis, well, that's also quite uncommon. Cricket, that's quite uncommon. Cicada, flea, and centipede. Okay, so yes, here you have these words. If you are Russian, if you're from Russia, you know Russian, you would like to write down some of them, please. You can stop, you can pause this video and have a look. Okay. So as for parts of animals, probably 3 words that you might find useful. That's jaw, abdomen, and thorax. Okay, right. So here you have a picture of some more details like mouth part, antenna, head, thorax, legs, abdomen. All right. So they usually, according to reports of students who took IELTS in May 2020, the questions they ask is, do you like insects? So, well, most people would probably say no. But well, it's up to you, of course. You can mention that they are disgusting. You feel disgusted at the mere mention of insects. I can't stand all the creepy crawlies. I'm scared of getting stung by a bee, a wasp, or a hornet. Or why? You can use inversion here. Not only do they look weird, but they are also really annoying. They will never leave you alone. And you can give some examples of such bugs. Then I'm allergic to bee and wasp stings. That's what you can also say here. I don't like being bitten by mosquitoes and bed bugs. Honestly, it is hard to like any animal that bites you, right? Then when you encounter insects, what do? You can say, I stomp on them, I squash them, I use insect repellent or insect spray. I try to stay away from them whenever possible. Okay, and one more question. Are there many different insects where you live? So you can say my country is home to, and you can mention 2 or 3 insects, 4 or 5 maximum. It's home to mosquitoes, for example, or some kind of insects are quite widespread where I live. Some common insects that you encounter are, okay? And then, and the final question that has been reported so far is, do you think insects are useful? Well, in your answer, you can combine both yes and no using some clause of concession, like whereas they can be beneficial, so some of them can be harmful. So you can, or on the one hand, on the other hand, so you can mention all of these ideas. Insects are critical to the existence of the world as we know it. They're essential components of our ecosystem. They are pollinators. They pollinate flowers and plants. They help with decomposition of animal waste. Or you could also mention that they're not useful. They spread deadly viruses and diseases such as COVID-19. They damage plants and, well, whatever, maybe even entire buildings. Okay, so let me try to produce some sample answers to these questions. So let's imagine that I'm asked by an examiner, and what would I say? Do you like insects? Well, I'm utterly convinced that the word like is context dependent. To exemplify, I adore watching butterflies or dragonflies flit and flutter somewhere in a meadow. Having said that, I don't like being stung by mosquitoes or being bitten by bedbugs or fleas and lice. To be brutally honest, I would call it a daunting task to like any animal that bites you. On top of that, I can't stand roaches crawling around the flat, so I take every step possible to eliminate them in the house. Then, are there many different insects where you live? Well, definitely. There is a bewildering range of different species of insects in my country. Having been born in Russia, I must have seen several hundred types of them. Hornets, crickets, caterpillars, grasshoppers, and centipedes, to name but a few. Locusts and moths are quite widespread too. Then, do you think insects are useful? I'm leaning towards a positive answer. To commence with, insects are crucial components of many ecosystems where they perform a plethora of essential functions. Not only do they aerate the soil, but they also pollinate blossoms. In addition, they feed on dead animals and fallen trees, thereby recycling nutrients back into the soil. To sum up, were it not for insects, our world will be a totally different place. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you liked it. Please put your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you still haven't. If you know any other interesting words related to insects, maybe some kinds of insects that are popular in your country, or some other words that could be used when you answer these questions, please write this in the commentaries. Okay, thank you and see you next time.